YouTube Ozic going the Godows is back with my score predictions and picks against the spread for Week 12 of the NFL season. We do this video every single Wednesday. This is a tough week for picks in general, but also picks against the spread, which we've been killing it in with top 3 amongst experts this year. So excited to show you my picks on a tough week. Team's starting to get in that playoff push mode, so really excited about this week. We'll have football Thursday, Friday, Sunday, college football Saturday, so all week really excited. So join us for all of our content. Like, subscribe to notifications on, follow us on Twitter. Sponsors, Liquid IV is actually 30% off for a limited time with code GOAT. They have new variety pack. Check it out. GLD shop 33% off, always code GOAT. We have a giveaway going on. I'm always rocking their jewelry everywhere I go. Again, links pinned in the comments for anything you are looking for. The first Thanksgiving game, the Packers seem like they're getting a little bit better, especially Jordan Love and those young weapons, but I hate this matchup for them. We saw it last time against the Lions, and we continue to see the Packers struggle to stop the run. They're very bad stopping the run. The Lions are very good running the football, so they'll run David Montgomery. They'll run Jahmyr Gibbs. They will have success moving down the field. I think they'll have success with the air as well, but they don't really need a crazy amount. I think just because of the matchup, the Lions could put up a lot of points, but you do also factor in that mainly they're going to run the ball and that will run the clock. So how many points will they score? That they may not go too crazy because the running clock, but I got them scoring 30. I got the Packers scoring 20. Again, you can throw the ball in the Lions defense, and the Packers are getting better through the air, with Jordan Love and company. So they could score some points. It's just, will they be limited in terms of clock because of the Lions running game and the lack of run defense for the Packers? That's what I worry about. So the Lions are favored by 7.5. I do have them covering because they're home. They were a little off last week. They probably want a bounce-back game, even though they won. A bounce-back game at home on Thanksgiving, so I think they get after it here to win 30-20 in the first game in Thanksgiving. Second game is really tough to pick against the spread. The Commanders are plus 12, so the Cowboys have to cover a whopping 12. I do have them covering. First glance, I was like, that's too much. That's too much. But then I'm sitting here thinking about it. Multiple things side towards the Cowboys winning in pretty big fashion here. They continue to cover these big spreads. One, they're a team that's not afraid to pile it on, like keep on going, home in front of your home crowd on Thanksgiving as well. But it's a bad matchup for the Commanders. The Commanders haven't really played too many good teams. They played the Eagles twice. For some reason, that matchup favors them, even though they couldn't win either game. The Cowboys, it's a good team, but it's a different matchup. A lot of man coverage. And the Commanders have struggled against that. Teams that play man and get a lot of pressure, the Giants and the Cowboys are a much better version of that. So I don't know. The Commanders' offensive line, I don't know how they're going to hold up. The Cowboys create turnovers. They create ton of turnovers. And Sam Howell and the Commanders, they turn the ball over. I just don't trust their offense to do a whole lot in this game. And the Cowboys should have success through the air. They weren't crazy, through the air, even though they won big against the Panthers last week. It was mainly a running day for them. So in front of the home crowd, Thanksgiving, I think they're going to want to get going through the air here. So I have them winning 31-16. Big win for them. It's a tricky one with the spread, though, because it's a big line, but everything points towards the Cowboys, and the Cowboys winning big in that one. The last Thanksgiving game, the Niners are -7 at Seattle. I have them covering that one as well. It's been a bad matchup for Seattle for years against San Francisco. Just because the Niners are better on both sides of the ball. They're better, who has the better offense, who has the better defense. The Seahawks are a good team, but then they're playing another good team that's better on both sides here. So that's the tough part. Seattle's offense has been pretty underwhelming recently. We've known them for being a explosive offensive team and a bad defensive team, and that's kind of changed. Defense has been pretty solid. But, how will they be, against the Niners? I think the Niners will have success running and throwing. Will they go absolutely wild? Maybe not, but I think they'll have success doing both. And again, I don't think Seattle is as much of an offensive team as they used to be. Geno a little banged up on top of it. Kenneth Walker banged up. They're home, Thanksgiving, primetime football, night, under the lights, 12th man. Maybe that gets them going. I just hate the matchup. I hate these matchups on Thanksgiving. Like, it's crazy how the better teams, the matchup clearly favors them. Take away that they're better teams, just like X's and O's, or how do the offenses match up with the defenses, what's their weaknesses, what's their strength. All of them completely favor the favored teams this week, this year on Thanksgiving. It's pretty crazy. I guess there's bound to be an underdog that puts up more of a fight. Who's that going to be? Maybe Seattle, just, because they're the better team out of the three underdog teams, and they're home, Thursday Night Football. So we'll see, though. And then the Black Friday game is not the most exciting game. I guess the Dolphins, have they played, they're an offensive team, but have they played great against good defenses? Not so much, but, the Jets just don't have the offense to kind of keep their own defense off the field and give them a break. That's the problem. I don't expect Boyle to, Zach Wilson was a problem, but I also think Tim Boyle is going to be a problem. I think the Dolphins defense is getting better. I think it's going to continue to get better. It was very underwhelming earlier in the year, but Jalen Ramsey back, them kind of figuring out things, Vic Fangio, these pass rushers getting after it a little bit more. I think they're going to get better, so I don't see the Jets scoring more than 13 points. I don't know if the Dolphins have a crazy day offensively, but they should do enough. 24, they'll have a solid day. So I also have them covering a big spread. Not by much, though. I have them winning by 11. On to the Sunday games. I think the better games here. The Saints are +1 in Atlanta. I got the Falcons winning by 3. The Saints are a little beat up. This is in Atlanta. The Falcons are a much better team at home. They had that bye week to kind of sit down and game plan, figure out, all right, how do we scheme things up to beat the Saints? To beat the Saints, you run the football. The Falcons are pretty good running the football. When they, actually do it and get the ball to Bijan Robinson, but I think they'll figure out ways to create for Bijan, Algier, Cordero Patterson, and that'll be enough in this game to control the clock and put up points here. And their defense, they're a solid defense still. I think Jesse Bates can get his hands on the ball one or two times, or the secondary get their hands on the ball one or two times. Jesse Bates kind of leads the way there for that group. So I do like the Falcons 20-17 at home against the Saints. It's a big game for the NFC South. Huge game. Next, Steelers and Bengals. Got the Steelers winning by 4, 17-13. Should be a low-scoring game. I don't think Matt Canada was the number one problem for the Steelers, but he was somewhat of a problem, and moving on from him kind of can get the guys going, and it also makes the game plan tougher for the opponents, in the near future, and this week the Bengals, because you really don't know what they're going to hit you with here. So I like the Steelers on both sides of the ball against a non-Joe Burrow Bengals. So 17-13 cover. That line's only -1. I know they were underdogs still, even with Deshaun Watson out, but I did pick the Browns, so I did understand how the Browns stayed favorites this week. I'm a little surprised it's only 1, but we'll see. 17-13 Steelers. Panthers, Titans. Not one I would touch. I have the Titans covering by 0.5 point. This is an opportunity for the Panthers to get things going. Their pass defense has been really good lately, so they could limit the Titans. And, their offense needs to get, Bryce Young in the pass game needs to get something going. Titans' pass defense has been a little pretty underwhelming lately, so they have not been good after the catch or after contact with their tackling, their angles. So the Panthers like to play some small ball, get Bryce Young on the space. It's an opportunity, and I keep saying that, though. Like Bears game, Colts game, here's an opportunity. It doesn't happen. So a little bit going on offense in this one. Defensively, they've been good against the pass, but I think this is an opportunity for Derrick Henry in the Titans' run game, doing what they know and love to really get going here. So a lot of running clock, but the Titans taking care of business at home. The Titans seem to be a different team at home, but winning 23-19. I barely have them covering the spread, but in a way I kind of like that one because this was kind of the closest I had it being. I could see them winning. They're a really good home team, but it's been a bit since we've seen them at home. So, but I could see them winning by a lot more than. The more I'm talking, the more I think they can win. This is kind of like the closest it'll be, 23-19. But it is a little tricky. The Titans have been playing really bad lately, but Panthers have been playing the worst in football lately. So there's that. Bucks and Colts. I like the Bucks in this game. It could go either way. I'm surprised the Bucks are getting 2.5 points. These teams are pretty much the same this year. They started better, exceeding expectations, both kind of coming down to earth a little bit. The Colts are still kind of winning, but haven't been super impressive recently, I guess. Red zone defense, maybe. They're basically what I'm saying is they're both in the same boat. But I like the way the Bucks match up, on the field against the Colts here. That's why I'm a little surprised they're plus 2.5. I think offensively for the Bucs, they can be explosive, and because they have those weapons. The Colts aren't the greatest team versus the pass. They're not getting constant pressure. So I think the Bucs, Baker and these playmakers, Godwin, Mike Evans, Rashad White's really getting going. I think they'll be able to do some damage here. Nothing crazy, but I think they'll be able to do some damage. And then Colts, to beat the Bucs, you got to air the ball downfield. And it's either they let teams air it all over them downfield or they create turnovers. It's one or the other. The Colts aren't the most explosive team airing down the field, so that kind of sides with the Bucs. Colts are a very good run offense, but the Bucs are a very good run defense, so I think they'll both have their good moments in that category. Things are kind of siding towards the Bucs in the matchup, and I do think they are the slightly better team because I think there is more playmakers on that team. So, really on both sides of the ball. So in a good game where they're both kind of in the same boat this year, I'm going to go with the Bucs. I like them. Again, just sitting down and looking at the matchup that doesn't tell us who wins every single week, but to me the matchup definitely favors the Bucs. So 24-20, Tampa wins that one in Indy. Next, Jesus Christ, this game is going to be terrible. Patriots and Giants. We still don't know Mac Jones or Bailey Zappi. I don't think it really matters. I just take a look at a Bill Belichick defense. He kind of takes away, like if you're a team that's pretty one-dimensional, the Patriots will play Bill Belichick, Patriot defense, and they'll take that thing away and they'll beat the rest of it that isn't so strong. And so the strong part is Saquon Barkley. Are they going to completely shut him down? No, but they're going to focus on that. They're going to make Tommy DeVito beat him, and I don't think he can beat, a high pressure rate Bill Belichick Patriots defense. So I don't expect much. Saquon's going to have to do it himself, and he could because the Patriots don't score a lot of points. But Patriots defense versus Tommy DeVito. I know DeVito was impressive last week. I'm not going to buy into that. I don't want to overthink it. Patriots defense versus Tommy DeVito. I'm going to take the Patriots. I think they'll have to do just enough on offense. I think they're more likely to score on defense as well. 13-12. 13.5 seems like a little bit because I could see the Giants and Saquon Barkley and their defense winning the game. And they can lose by 3 and still cover. So I plus 3.5. It's not one I would bet on, but against the spread, I definitely like the Giants, I suppose. Jags and Texans. The Jags are -2, and I have the Texans winning by 2. This is one where I feel like, I don't want to overthink it, is the way I put it, because not only did the Texans beat them up last time, but, not that means a whole lot, but they beat them up pretty good. But the Jags' pass defense hasn't been great. The Texans can really sling it downfield. They're getting better in that category. They're getting way better running the football. Jags are pretty good stopping a run, but the Texans' run offense has been great under Devin Singletary very recently, and that kind of opens up more for the playbook and opens up more for the offense, and it makes the defense's job harder when it comes to game planning. Like, we got to worry about this, that, so that makes it pretty tough. I like D'Amico Ryan's zone defense going against, Trevor Lawrence a lot. Liked it last time as well. Trevor Lawrence is, I believe in Lawrence for sure, but he's had his struggles against the Texans actually in general since coming in the league. So I think that's interesting. It's in Houston. The Texans been sloppy and still winning football games. Maybe cut the slop this week and then they'll definitely win. So and the Jags been a little sloppy as well. I'm gonna go with the Texans. 26-24 could go either way. Huge game when it comes to the AFC South. It's just one I don't want to overthink. I think things are just siding towards the Texans in Houston, but it should be a really good game. There's a lot of this week's really tough. This week's really tough. There's a lot of games that are tough to pick. There are 2 games, and we have them back to back, this one and the next one, that are the toughest to pick this week, and this is one of them. I'm going to take the Broncos in a 1-point squeaker set, and they won by 1 point last week. 17-16. This is so tough. This was in Cleveland. I would actually be confident with the Browns. Not crazy confident, but confident with them. The Broncos are on a roll. They have that home field advantage. They're playing much better football. It's tough to predict because, again, DTRs are going to win 2 in a row. The Browns' defense has been great, but hasn't nearly been as good away. Tough environment, and in Mile High. The Broncos have been winning games, but they also been getting crazy amount of turnovers. It's like, it feels like if you're predicting the Broncos, you also have to predict them to get 3+ turnovers, or maybe at least 2+, to win the game. So that's kind of bold, even though they've been doing it and been winning. Is it going to happen every week? So going against DTR, and I don't trust Stefanski. The Broncos are dead last stopping the run. They struggle with it. So if the Browns go out there and I'll say this: if the Browns go out there and they pound the football and they stick to the ground, and this game stays close, like it doesn't get out of hand or anything like that, and they stick to the ground and they don't turn it over a crazy amount of times. I won't even say, they could even turn it over once. But if they do that, I think they'll win the game. But the Broncos have been creating turnovers. They're playing a rookie quarterback. They're at home. I think Javonte Williams gets going a little bit more in this game. It's tough, though, because the Broncos, Broncos been winning along with getting these turnovers. So it is tough to predict any team to get those turnovers. Another thing, the Broncos haven't really seen this Browns defense. They've seen decent defenses, don't get me wrong, but they haven't seen this heavy man coverage, strong secondary. I mean, they've seen the Jets, but they aren't heavy man coverage, so it's something a little different too. So, the Browns defense home and away, but that's why I don't know yet. Like, can they stay consistent? They're a great defense, but can they be the same away? This is such a tough one to pick. Plus 2.5, I'll take the Browns, but I'll go with the Broncos at home, 17-16. They're going to have to continue to create turnovers. They really are struggling to stop the run. So that's, I usually don't pick a team a lot when they can't stop the run, because it's very easy for teams to beat them as long as they don't turn it over a bunch. And teams been turning it over a bunch against the Broncos. So it's a tricky one. But the Broncos should be able to continue to play how they've been playing and just getting by here against the Browns in what I think will be a really good game, defensive game. This is the toughest one to pick, I think. Well, between the Browns and the Broncos and Rams and Cardinals, this is an even line, so that kind of makes sense. It's a tough one to pick. I'm going to take the Cardinals. I think it's going to be a 3-point game. I think if the Rams win, they're going to win. It's going to be 23-20 one way or the other. I kind of got a feeling about that. And it could be or less than 3 points, but I kind of feel this score for either way. Last time they played, it was really close for a half of football. Now, if you follow us on Twitter, I'm sitting there saying the Rams got to run the damn ball. That's how they're going to win. And they come out in the second half and they pound the ball to Kyren Williams, and he went crazy in the second half, and they end up pulling away by a big amount there, and that wasn't against Kyler, it was against Josh Dobbs. Now Kyron's back just in time for the Cardinals, so lucky Cardinals, but he got injured last year, he got injured this year, so maybe that's why they're not pounding him as much as they should. He's just coming off that injury, so how many times are they actually going to run the ball? McVay insists on passing the ball. I do like the Cardinals' pass defense. I think it's a little underrated. This time they're dealing with Kyler. They didn't really have adjustments in the second half, mainly because they didn't have the talent. Now, again, Kyler back. Is Cooper Kupp going to be playing? He's day-to-day. I'd lean towards he's not, but I'm not the injury expert. So I don't think he's going to play, so that plays a factor here. If you told me Cooper Kupp plays and they actually use Kyren Williams quite a bit, they're not worried about the injury, I'd say the Rams win the game 23-20. I just don't know if those things happen. And it's in Arizona. Third week with Kyler being in there. They had a tough one last week. I'll take the Cardinals. It is tricky. 23-20, feeling that score line. We'll see what happens. Next, we got the Chiefs and the Raiders. I'm confident with the Chiefs in this one. They're probably salty about last week. They moved the ball well enough to score 30-plus points. They only scored 17. They've been struggling in the second half. They're pissed off about shit like that. I think they'll have success in Vegas, inside. No rain this time. They'll catch the ball better. MVS has something to prove this week. Kelsey has something more to prove. Mahomes going to continue to ball out. I think they're going to score points. And their defense has been lights out. Their defense has been great. The Raiders were separating against the Dolphins quite a bit downfield. That's the main thing with the Chiefs defense. Like what's the reason it has been so great? I keep saying it all year. They're so sticky in coverage. They're so sticky, tight in coverage. So they'll do that in this game. I think the matchup favors them big time. But the Raiders they played the Dolphins way tougher than I thought, and they won the other 2 weeks when I didn't think they were going to win. So who knows here? But I think the matchup favors the Chiefs. Next, Bills Eagles. There's something about this matchup says the Bills could win. The Bills could win this game. That's why I'll pick them against the spread plus 3.5. But in Philly, I think the Bills will have a tough time stopping Hurts on running. I think he ran 9 times last week. They actually tried to do it more. They wanted to do it more last week, but the Chiefs had a really good game plan for that. Bills, obviously still without Matt Milano. I think they'll be tough in that category. And that'll be the difference. And A.J. Brown gets going more this game. But I think Stephon Diggs gets going more this game. I think, a kind of a breakout game because he was kind of been a little cold the last couple weeks. I think Josh Allen can air it downfield. It seems like you can move the ball in this Eagles defense. It seems like you can air it downfield. And it's a second week with Joe Brady calling the offense. And it's, does that mean it's fixed for good? Doesn't necessarily mean that, but it's a tough game plan because it's a little different. You can't really go completely off the tape before last week. So maybe it's a little tough for the Eagles here. So I could see this going either way. If it was in Buffalo, I'd be picking the Bills. I think the home field is the difference in this game. 26-24 Philly. Sunday night actually could be a little tricky for two reasons. The first one, small reason, but Mark Andrews, not that small because Mark Andrews is a big-time player. He's out, obviously, for the rest of the year unless he can somehow come back or something about that, besides the point. But the second reason, I've been hearing recently that the Chargers are supposed to, and it's not being put out there a lot, but the Chargers are supposed to change a lot of things up. And it's not, doesn't mean Staley's not going to call the defense. He was very clear after the game about that. He's going to call the defense, but they're supposed to change on both sides of the ball, but mainly defense, like play style, personnel. Some of the guys not getting the job done. I can see them, changing coverages up because it's not really working that much. So I just keep hearing that. Watch for some change on play calls on either side of the ball. I took it as more defense and then personnel, actual players, who's in there, who's in and out, the rotation. So that, and at home on Sunday night, that makes it interesting. It makes the game plan or the unexpected that could hit the Ravens a little trickier. The Chargers can be a little sneaky in this game. If they catch the ball and don't fumble at the 1 yard line, Herbert's going to do his job and he's going to play well, so they can be a sneaky team. So that makes it a little tricky, but I just think the Ravens are the better team. I would actually think they would beat them by more. Something about them being a little sneaky and change things up made it actually closer for me. But they'll have success offensively. Lamar will have success running. And he'll have success throwing the ball. I mean, everybody's having success throwing the ball in the Chargers right now. And then the Chargers on offense, Herbert will do some damage, but the Ravens got a stout defense. There's not enough there. There's not enough there where, are the Chargers receivers going to get crazy separation in this game? I don't see it. Are they going to go crazy on the ground? I don't see it. And their best bet is probably Eckler getting loose in the passing game. Just not enough there for me, even though they could be a little sneaky, like I said. So I have the Ravens winning and covering, even though it could be a trap game. And then Monday night, the Vikings are favored by 3.5, but I'm going to have the Bears covering in that one. It's got to be a close game. Primetime Vikings, it's the Vikings. It's got to be a close game. They actually scored 19 on the Bears last time. It's not why I did it. I guess it makes, are they really going to score 19 twice in a row? It's kind of what I came up with here. I think it's going to be more of a defensive game than people think. The Bears defense has been playing a lot better recently. I think the Dobbs Vikings offense is going to get figured out more and more. There was a lot to wow and go crazy about right away with Dobbs. I was excited about it as a Vikings fan, but I've been saying from the start, people aren't used to the Vikings with the running quarterback. There's no game plan. There's no tape on that. So people always forget that aspect. It happens for every single team, really. So there's more of a game plan out there. And maybe it's not fully out there yet. So maybe Dobbs has a great game and they score more points in this. But, I don't know if Justin Jefferson's going to be back either. So Jefferson, I don't think he's going to be back. So I think it stays close, 19-17. The Vikings at home. If this was in Chicago, I'd probably pick the Bears. At home on Monday night, we'll take them 19-17. And then taking a look at my against the spread picks, we are 94-66 on the year. Pick Watch actually keeps track of experts and their records. If you plugged me in there, I'd be third. And the guy in second is 92-64. So that's interesting. So he has 2 less wins, but 2 less losses. I thought that was interesting. Some more pushes, I guess. Or non-picks. But so we've been doing good. This week's really tough though, so we'll see what happens. But I have the Lions covering. I have the, because of the matchup, I have the Cowboys covering. It's just too much for me to put money on that one. The Niners -7. I got a lot of favorites here. Dolphins -9.5. I have the Falcons winning and then covering that one. I have the Steelers winning and covering that one. I'm surprised the Steelers is that low. I kind of like that one. Titans minus 3.5. I have them barely covering, but I do think they cover. I didn't really hesitate with that one. Even though I have them barely covering, I do. I like the Bucs plus 2.5, and they win the game. If that goes up to 3, I absolutely love it. You get a little more comfort, insurance there. Giants, I have them losing, but 3.5 seems like a little bit. The difference between 3.5 and 3 looks pretty good. So we're starting to get into the underdogs here. The Texans, I have winning. They're plus 2. The Browns, I think, could win. It's a 50-50 game between the Browns and the Broncos. I have the Broncos winning by 1, so plus 2.5 for the Browns. Rams, Cardinals, I wouldn't touch. It's an even line for a reason. It's a toss-up who's going to win. It's exactly 50-50 on who's going to win. I wouldn't touch it. I picked the Cardinals. We'll see if Cooper Kupp plays. If Cooper Kupp plays and they pound the ball to Kyren Williams, the Rams are going to win. I just don't think those things happen. Bills plus 3.5. They could win the game. I have them losing by 2. The Chiefs, I really think, cover that 8.5. Ravens, it could be a trap game, but the matchup favors them on top of them being a better team, so minus 3.5. Bears plus 3.5. Not one I would touch. It's just Bears, Vikings, prime time. Every Vikings game's close. The Bears are playing better on defense. The Vikings defense is pretty tough. It's got to be close, right? So that's really my reasoning for the Bears covering the 3.5. So there you have it. This is a tough week, one of the toughest weeks I can remember. I'm excited about it, though. I'm excited to see. We got football Thursday, Friday, college Saturday, NFL Sunday. Big games across the board in the football world. A lot of playoff implications, again, both levels. Excited. So hopefully you can join us for all of our content. Hopefully you can join us on Twitter. There's a lot going on there. Links pinned in the comments. For that, anything you're looking for, again, limited time, Liquid IV, 30% off. Check that out with code GOAT. That's going to do it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.